think it's the N64.
Yep, it's common. That is so common. You had to be born with that grotesque controller.
Yeah. It just feels so awkward
Yes.
to like hold it.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like...
Hey there, Puppers, and welcome to a new playthrough. This is Kao Round 2. This is a game developed by a small Polish company.
Oh.
Yeah, and they're doing their mascot from Down Under, an Australian kangaroo. The first game was for PC and the Sega Dreamcast. The second game was available on like GameCube, which is what I'm playing it on. Also, a PlayStation 2, an Xbox, and PC. And the third one was only available in Poland. And funnily enough, at the time of this recording, there is a new Kao game, which nobody saw coming, that like was released this recent summer. So yeah, we're gonna play Kao Round 2. And the most interesting thing about this game is the box art, which has nothing to do with the actual game. So I'm going to show you the box art.
Okay.
And it's from that era where no matter how cute and cuddly the character was, the box had to have this gritty kind of like edginess to it.
Okay, so the box art has, whom I'm assuming is Kao, and an army helmet holding a bazooka. And the bombs all have like angry shark faces.
Yes. So that's Kao on the cover. This is Kao in the game.
We need you. Only you can help us. The horrible, mean, cruel hunter has started.
Tell me those are his eyeballs.
Yes, those are his eyeballs. His big, googly eyeballs.
Okay, so on the box art, he has eyelids.
And he also talks. He has a little Australian accent here.
Aww.
But yeah, the plot of this game is that the evil hunter has kidnapped Kao and his friends. This parrot is going to try to bust him loose, and now Kao has to save all his friends from the hunter. So here we go, another platforming adventure.
Okay, I mean, at least he still has like the boxing gloves.
The thing is, like, the Polish box art is like him in front of like a sky background, and he's very happy and stuff.
Yeah.
America, especially in that era, I think the Wii and cell phone generation got rid of this, but like America would always take no matter what the box art and try to like add some edge or grit to it. There's this very interesting...
Well, I think because Americans are so apt for like, and not, it sounds harsher than it is, but for violence.
Yes.
So, like, if we don't see that there's action or violence, or we're going to think, oh, it's for little kids, or oh, it's boring. Like.
But there's this interesting theory of all of the Kirby games, up until, I think, like, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, his American box art gives him angry eyes. He's not allowed to have it. It's just like, hi. They redo it to where like he has like two lines and he's like,
he said, sup, motherfucker.
3,000 ducats are nothing.
A pirate just bitch slapped a parrot.
I thought he threw the parrot, and I was like, joke's on you, man. He's a bird. He can just fly away.
You have to stop him. The only way to free the poor beast is to give
All right, Kao. So this is our little hub world, the pirate base, and we basically have to bribe the guard to reach the final area with 3,000 ducats.
Okay. I'm assuming that's the form of currency.
Yep, that's the form of currency. So all throughout our adventure, we have to save up 3,000.
Okay.
All right, so here's Kao, and you can just adjust the camera like that. You can also go into first person to readjust your camera.
Oh my god.
And he takes his little gloves, and it's just like,
he walks through his hands.
Hello, Kao. I've been waiting for you.
But he's a cute and quirky character from an era full of quirky anthropomorphic animals.
Yes.
We lived in peace and harmony in our forest. One day,
So let's see how this one stacks up with the others.
he bribed
Is that a beaver?
That is a beaver.
now in cahoots with him. With his army of loyal henchmen, he
So we have to enter the beaver forest and help out our little animal buddy. Come here, little friend.
I'll do my best.
Very well. Do you want to go into the
Now, again, I watch all of these blind.
Mhm.
So You play through them, and a lot of these
This is my
games you've played
third
through
time
before.
playing the game.
Is there voice acting?
Yes. Yes, there is voice acting in this one.
And they're actually speaking? They're not just like, oh,
Yep.
you shot, oh,
Yep, they're speaking.
Like, okay.
And as always in these platformers, you got to start out with like a forest or wood or grass type level. Just par for the course. And our first level is Beaver Forest. And the controls are pretty simple. You use the X button to swing your boxing gloves. You have a tail attack that you can do if you jump and press the attack button.
Okay.
And you also have a ground pound.
Hello, Kao. Here's your first test. Find my friend. He'll show you how to use the nuts.
Great. Where can I find this friend of yours?
Take a look behind my cabin. You'll find coins hidden in the flower pots and boxes.
Ain't
Press
cute.
the X button to break the
He needs to
alligator.
eat.
You can also
His
catch
teeth
him
are
by
like
pressing
taking
the
up his whole mouth. That was me before braces.
I feel that. Collecting some coins. And the ducats are like the pink little crystals.
Okay.
Now, hidden in these barrels are bombs, so you always gotta like jump out of the way if you see a bomb appear. It allows you to not get too greedy and carried away, to where you actually gotta pay attention and be like, whoop, look out! Careful now. Luckily, Kao has an enormous health bar, so it takes a lot for you to die.
Up the nut
Okay.
and press the Y button.
So it's pretty forgiving.
Yeah,
The longer you hold the button down, the farther the nut will go.
the first game wasn't as much. Apparently, like, you collected these flags, and you could implant your own checkpoints, depending on how many flags you collected.
Okay.
And this teaches the throw mechanic. Just gonna hit those targets.
He reminds me of Rocco, which is common because Rocco is often
Yeah,
mistaken for a
Rocco-
kangaroo, but he's a wallaby.
Ah, that's right. Yep.
Or else you'll have to start your adventure all over again.
Rocco's Modern Life.
Rocco's Modern Life.
But
I,
in this game, these little bells are checkpoints.
Okay.
So every time we hit them, there we go. All
Oh,
right.
that's neat.
Kangaroo in a barrel. Careful not to smash into the walls.
I feel like one of my favorite Rocco's Modern Life episodes, I think it might actually be the first episode.
Oh, wow.
It's him and Spunky have to go grocery shopping because they have no food left. And they're having a mega sale
Mm-hmm.
so that he can afford to buy food.
Oh, okay.
And they're trying to get to the line before the sale ends.
Okay.
It's just very relatable. As a kid, you're like, oh, it's so funny. Everyone's screaming. Everyone's yelling. This is great. As an adult, you're like, oh my God, truth.
The creator of Rocco's Modern Life, is he the same one that moved on to do SpongeBob, or what else did he do?
I think the creator of SpongeBob was involved in Rocco's Modern Life.
Okay. Yeah, you do that while I knock over this tree. There we go. The path is set. Oh, maybe I gotta do it again. Timber! There we go.
So the program creator is Joe Murray.
Okay.
Let me see what else.
Because the creator of
he's done.
SpongeBob was like Steven someone. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. These bees are very annoying. Come on, you move. So those stars that I collected, if I get 50 of them, I get a new power-up.
Ooh.
So every 50, I get a new power-up for Kao.
Okay, so I don't recognize a ton of what else he's done.
Okay.
But he did Rocco's Modern Life, Camp Laszlo,
Okay, I'm familiar with that.
Let's Go Luna, Leo the Wildlife Ranger,
Interesting. Well, alrighty then.
The Adventures of Nano Boy.
Well, guess I was wrong then.
Yeah. But I do know that
I thought they did a
Steven
bigger show.
had his hands in Rocco's Modern Life.
Okay. He just wasn't the main
Yeah,
creator,
he
but
didn't
he worked
create
on it. Gotcha. Well, alrighty then.
Because Rocco's Modern Life first aired in 92. So
Now-
it was a few years before SpongeBob.
This is like our 5th, maybe even 6th 3D platformer. Do you feel like the genre is getting stale watching them, or do you feel like it's unique enough to where you'd still be open to watch more of these and see how they plan out and how they differ? Because like, especially at this era, there was a lot of them.
I think they're each different enough.
Okay.
Like, I can tell this one is probably closer in age to Gex.
Okay.
Am I right?
I'd say about 5 years after Gex.
Okay, because I was going to say it looks smoother than Gex. Like the actual imagery, how Gex was very like pixelated
Yes.
in places. This is a lot smoother.
Gex was on Nintendo 64 and PlayStation 1. This is on PlayStation 2 and GameCube. So the next generation.
But I also feel like...
Do you like how he uses his ears?
Yes. I feel like it might look closer to Klonoa,
Oh, okay.
but maybe not as sharp as Klonoa.
Gotcha. All right. Come here, stupid bee.
But I mean, like, it's an evolution of games. Like, of course you're going to have a lot of these. This is, like, the peak game for when you would have started to play games. Like, this
Yeah.
would have been, like, the shit.
Yeah, the 3D platformers were like the Call of Duty era, or like right now, everything's an open world game.
Yeah.
Around this
like-
era, it was 3D platformers.
So I definitely think that it's just a part of the evolution of playing all the games that you have. Like, you're going to
Whereas-
have a lot of these, and that's okay.
I think realistically, this was released a year after Psychonauts.
Okay.
So this was kind of the era of Psychonauts.
Yeah, because I don't necessarily think in terms of like, oh man, another 3D platformer. Like, my brain doesn't necessarily think of what the images look like.
Okay.
I'm more interested in the story. How is the gameplay? Like, what are the enemies like? What is the goal? Is it a collectathon? Is it...
Okay.
So, like...
Ouch, damn.
While the graphics and stuff do
There
play a
we go.
large part for me, whether I really like something or not, I don't think that's a make or break.
I got you.
For me, it's more or less because I have poor depth perception, so it's like if I can't tell
I
what's in the
gotcha.
front and what's in the back, then it's just a struggle.
Okay. I like his little roll.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not
Do a
just
little
a
roll attack.
kangaroo. I'm also part armadillo on my mother's side.
There was a game with an anthropomorphic armadillo that was more like a Western.
Oh my god.
I think it's like Roll-On's Great Adventure or something like that. And he has like cowboy hat and all that. And he could like roll around and do shootouts.
That's funny.
I think it was for the DS or something. We're at the era where I think pretty much every animal has been an anthropomorphic mascot at this point. I'd be genuinely surprised if there's an animal that hasn't been covered yet. We've scratched the bottom of the barrel.
I want an anglerfish as the main character.
Oh, an anglerfish.
Yes.
Well, we'll have to make note of that. If that doesn't exist, we can do it. Now, main character, not a side character
Correct.
or
an enemy.
NPC.
Like, I want you to play as an anglerfish.
Okay, we freed Beaver. So now we got this machine operating again. I don't think we can go out any of those holes. So I guess we'll just leave the way we came in.
I do like the
Alrighty-dokie.
transition of this, I think, better than... I don't even remember what game it is anymore.
Can you describe it? I might be
So,
able
like,
to know.
how it's almost like the entire screen stops and then you move to the next frame
Okay.
when you're transitioning between areas, instead of how that transition, going down the steps and then out into the world, was very smooth.
Okay.
So it felt like there was someone with a camera behind him following him out the door, instead of like he pauses at the door and then the screen goes black and then you go
and
on
then
to
it
the
loads.
next world.
Okay. There's a
So
couple
I
games
think
like that.
the transition was really, really nice.
Okay.
It was a lot less jarring.
It's really good in level, but when you go from stage to stage, there are like loading screens.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant, like, in
reason
level.
Why Nintendo was very adamant against discs for a while and wanted to keep the cartridges was because they did not like loading screens. They wanted you to seamlessly go from one level to the next, from one area to the next.
Yeah.
But the problem was you can't store as much onto a cartridge game as you can a disc.
Yeah.
So companies wanted to make these long RPGs, and they're just like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
So big companies like Square and like Capcom actually like said, I'm not developing for the Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
So Nintendo, with the
Had
exception of
to
like a couple
move
other
up.
countries, had to do a lot of the work and a lot of the pushing on that console just to get a sizable library.
Well, I think too, there's such like
And then for the GameCube, they moved back onto discs.
I think it is really scary when you have something super successful and then you have to change your platform.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like that would be scary because it's new and all the people that have worked on cartridges, now they don't work on cartridges anymore. They have to learn how to use a disc or, they have to hire someone that knows how to use a disc and how to do that type of technology instead. And that can be really daunting.
That was the beginning of Nintendo's like rough relationship with third-party companies. And it only recently cleared up with the Switch. To where like other developers were just like, why is Nintendo so goddamn difficult to develop for? And their policy was just like, we're very strict and we only want like the best of the best.
Yeah. Which again, if I was, and it's not fair to say this, but if I was one of the people that was working with them and I wasn't getting along, I would be like, why are you so difficult to work for? Mm-hmm. But like as a person that is playing.
Hang on, this is our death animation.
Oh. He just grows angel wings. But as a person who's playing, I think that's a smart move.
Okay.
Because then you're not going to get subpar shit. Like, you're going to know, like, oh, I'm getting this from Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, beautiful transition.
Yep.
But you know when you get something that's made by Nintendo, that you're getting something that is quality.
Mm-hmm. And that was true until the Wii. So in the Nintendo 64 and the GameCube, you could argue that with the exception of like weird ports of some games, they had like top quality games like Nintendo's official 64 and Rare's games on the Nintendo 64 are some of the like best 3D games. GameCube was the same way. It was just difficult to develop for, but the games that came out were really goddamn good.
Yeah.
We move on to the Wii, and it's like they're trying to appeal to like a different market.
Yeah.
So they were a little more open, not so much in what the third parties had to do, because the third parties are just like, I ain't putting motion controls in my goddamn game. So they're just like, that's not happening. They appealed more to developers who were interesting to experiment with the motion controls.
Yeah.
Which is what coined the term shovelware. Wii shovelware. To where it's just like you waggle for the sake of waggle, and the developer's like, I did it! It's not very good, but I did it!
Yeah.
It is motion controls. You might want to throw up when you play it, but I did it! And they tried that again with the Wii U, and people were just like, yeah, we're done with this. So with the Switch, they're kind of back to not scaring off third-party developers.
Right.
Not scaring off indie developers.
And I think it is like
but
something...
still being strict to where it's just like, we don't want the most powerful console. We want a console that can make our games, and that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, no, the Switch is not as powerful as a PS5. You can actually get a Switch unlike a PS5, so there's that.
And it's not going to cost you $1,000 to get a Switch.
But, yeah, Switch, even though I love the Wii and the Wii U and the GameCube, the Switch is still one of my favorite consoles since growing up.
Yeah.
It's just a really good, simple
I would
console.
have to agree.
That has, like, simplicity is the most effective medicine.
So far, the main one that I'm not super crazy about, which probably will kill your soul just a little bit, is...
I'm ready.
I think it's the N64.
Yep. Yeah, it's common. That is so common. You had to be born with that grotesque
Yeah.
controller.
It just feels so awkward
Yes.
to, like, hold it.
Uh-huh.
And then it's like, it's almost like you can't rest it anywhere on you without feeling like you're being stabbed. Like...
No, that's fair. We're going to herd some badgers while we continue this train of thought, but that is absolutely fair.
Yeah.
I hear it a lot. Unless you were born with that console, most people are just like,
it's just, it's just like, the controller is just uncomfortable to hold.
Like, it's hard to say people with a straight face, Super Mario 64 is one of the greatest ones. The Nintendo 64 Zeldas are some of the greatest in today's day and age.
And then you're just like, that controller,
yeah, but I have to
though.
hold that goddamn controller. And I'm just like, fair enough.
I saw a thing that was like,
It doesn't bother me, but I completely understand that it bothers some people.
well, I saw that like the N64, that middle part that has the stick on it,
Yes.
that is the Wiimote. Like the nunchuck Wiimote.
I guess that's a way to take it, yeah.
That they just like took it off
Eh,
and made it its own controller.
I never thought of it that way, but it makes a little bit of sense. So, the way I have always used it is that each game, depending on the setup they want, you use 2 of the handles and you neglect the third one.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Kao.
So, like for shooters, you kind of focus more on the middle stick. For like platformers and stuff like that, it's the outer stick.
It just was uncomfortable to actually hold.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I get it.
not like usage to like play it and use all the buttons, but like actually just to have it in
Just to
your
hold it.
hands felt very uncomfortable.
Okay.
I just threw a ball of yarn at the dog and he's like, fine, I'll go.
What would you say is the most comfortable controller? Because I don't think you've held a GameCube controller.
I don't think I've held a GameCube
But
controller
that's
either.
like, oh, that shit is snug. Do you like this? I don't know why. It's a giraffe!
He's like, I can still breathe, it's fine.
He's like, whoop, whoop, gotta keep your head under water.
That's
Head
like
above water.
penguins actually like what we think is their body is actually a very long neck.
No shit.
Yes, they have a very long neck.
Well, isn't that just fascinating?
See, I'm gonna show you a picture.
Well, we're actually out of time because right there is the exit to this level. And I hope you look forward to some more of Kao the Kangaroo
Yeah,
because we got some more wacky shenanigans to show off down under.
I like it. Toodles.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it has a very long neck.
Did not see that coming.